Welcome to Failure's Knowledge Podcast, where we explore failure and learn the success from the lessons that we learn. So, this is another episode of another great talk, another great lesson, another great session. So, if this is your first time here, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, because today we're diving deep on the importance of identifying who you would like to help. How you ever wanted to help everyone? Correction. How you ever wanted to launch a business and help everyone? One thing I learned is that you can't help everyone because everyone has a different way of being helped. And it taught me while being along this journey is that I have to continue to learn because there are so many different things that I can learn. And so let me go ahead and start everything. This is gonna be my first time teaching a lesson plan, and the plan that I'm around the lesson that I'm teaching is that you can't teach. I'm sorry, you can't help everybody while when you are starting your business. You have to be specific. You have to have a niche, and you have to narrow down who you are serving. Because if you're serving everybody, if you are speaking to everybody, if you are trying to help everyone, you are helping no one. And it took me a long time to learn this lesson because I didn't understand that I needed to get specific, that I needed to speak the language of the area that I want to help. And I want to help entrepreneurs launch their podcast so they can start getting confident on camera and share their messages with the world. In order for me to do that, in order for me to learn that, in order for me to recognize that, I had to really go through the process, had to go through the journey and really discover more about what I was doing, why I'm doing it, and the goal behind it. So even though I've been on this journey a half a decade, I've been learning more about business ever since 2024, ever since January of 2024. And it taught me that I want to help entrepreneurs. And in order for me to help entrepreneurs, I have to be willing to continue to speak to entrepreneurs. So this is the first episode, first structure episode of me following the lesson plan and to teach the importance of not being able to of not trying to help everyone as you are starting a business, but helping someone so you can help grow your business. And so, if this is your first time here, welcome to another episode of Failure is Knowledge Podcast. My name is Terryl Humphrey, and I'm your host of another great talk, another great episode. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit the subscribe. Towards the end of this, my goal for this video is to help you understand the importance behind why you can't help everyone, but you can help someone. And so my goal is to help you really understand the importance behind it. We're gonna dive deep with it. And if you have any questions while we're going along the process, going along the conversation, going along the talk, make sure you leave in the comment and ask the question. Then I'll take a break and read it, and we'll get back to the lesson. So the first thing first, when I first learned this, it was so confusing because I didn't understand what they was talking about. And so when I went to this entrepreneurship program, I knew I wanted to be in business, but I didn't know that anything can be a business. Anything can be a business if it's structured correctly and you're doing the right things to make it a business. And so during that time, they was like, so what type of business you want to have? So they was asking everybody in the class. It was maybe 8 to 10 people in their class. Let's just say it was 10 people in this class. And they're going around to everyone asking, what type of business would you like to have? Or what type of business do you have right now? Or what type of business would you like to have in the future? So they're going around asking everyone, and everyone is saying the type of business they want to have, what type of business they want to do, and why they want to do it. And so they got to me, and when they asked me why, the type of business that I want to have, I said I want to have a social media business. I said I've been doing social media for quite some time, and I think I understand the importance behind it. I think I understand it so much. And they said, okay, so who you want to serve? I'm like, well, everybody need to be on social media. Social media is the new age. It's the new technology. It's the new wave. Everyone. It doesn't matter your age limit. It doesn't matter your demographic. It doesn't matter where you're from. You have to be on social media. And so there was like the problem with that is that you're trying to serve everyone. The issue with that is that you're trying to help everyone. And it's going to be a problem because if you're trying to speak to everyone, who are you really helping? So I'm like, I'm like, okay, okay. Well, I guess I understand what you're saying, but I didn't understand nothing. And so I got to thinking, like, yeah, okay, social media. Everyone needs social media. They need Instagram. They need Facebook. They need YouTube. They need LinkedIn. They need TikTok. They need X. They need all these different social media platforms because all these social media platforms, there's a lot of people that's on there. And at the time, what I didn't recognize is that every platform is different. It's a social media, yes, but every platform is different. For instance, Snapchat is completely different from Instagram, but there's both social medias. And when I start to really understand where she was coming from, I'm like, huh, that's a good concept, but you need to be on social media. You got different people on Facebook, you have different people on Instagram, you have different people on TikTok, you have different people on Snapchat, you have different people on LinkedIn, you have people on these platforms. And so during that time, I'm really confused. Like, how does everyone who has a business or every entrepreneur that want to start a business, why shouldn't they have all these social medias? Like, I didn't understand that concept. Like, I was questioning it, and so I'm asking questions like, why can't they have, why can't they be on multiple platforms? Like, I'm confused. Like, I don't understand of it. They said, Terrell, if you're trying to help everyone, and all these platforms, they're different and they have different people on there. But if you're trying to help everyone, who are you really helping? I'm like, well, entrepreneurs, ain't I? I think I believe I'm helping entrepreneurs. I would like to think I'm helping entrepreneurs. And while I was in this class, of course, it was an 8 week course. And then they was gracious enough to let me go through it again. So I went through the same program twice, like back to back. And they taught the same exact thing. And they went around asking different people, asking the next class, how many people would like to start a business? Everyone was there wanted to start a business. Okay, then they did the same thing they did the first time. What type of business you want to have? I want to have a trucking business. What type of business you want to have? I want to have a catering business. What type of business you want to have? I want to have a studio business. Then they came to me again. I said I want to have a social media business. And I was stuck on the word of social media because I didn't understand the importance that I can't help everyone while I'm starting off as a small business owner. One, because I don't have the funds. Two, because I don't have the recognition. And three, because I don't know what I'm doing. Until I put those three things in place, then that's when I can start helping everyone. Until then, social media is not going to cut it. Social media is not going to cut it because you have to find out who you would like to serve, who you would like to help, because everyone's needs are completely different. When you go on LinkedIn, it's completely different from Snapchat. When you go on LinkedIn, it's completely different from Threads. When you go on LinkedIn, it's completely different from Instagram. When you go on LinkedIn, it's completely different from Facebook. And all these different platforms are so different amongst each other, you can't necessarily narrow down what you would like to do. And so this time, my second time being in class, I'm like, okay, how can I change and understand what they're talking about? How can I fully understand it? And so when I was trying to understand where that was coming from, I start to say I'm going to help with Facebook advertising. Okay, I'm gonna help I'm gonna help entrepreneurs with their Facebook advertising. That was like, Terrell, that's good that you narrowed down to one particular platform, but there's still a lot that you can do on Facebook. So I'm like, I just literally explained it. Like I thought I got clear, and I wasn't speaking to everyone. I was speaking to someone because I was on Facebook, and I was talking about advertising, and so it wasn't as broad. What I learned during this time is that when you're speaking to everyone, how do you know the people or the person that you're speaking to in order for you to actually bring value to them? In order for you to actually help them, in order for you to actually understand the problem that they're going through. How do you understand that? And it was so hard for me to understand where they was coming from because I'm thinking I'm narrowing it down. Okay, I went from social media to Facebook, then Facebook to Facebook advertising. They said, Terrell, when you now you got to think about advertising. When you start doing the advertising, that's a lot to do. How are you going to manage it? How are you going to create the images? How are you going to manage everything? That's still a lot. You're still too broad because you're speaking to everyone. And so at that point, I'm constantly asking questions. I'm asking questions. I'm asking questions. I'm asking questions because it's still not making sense. I said, so how narrow do you want me to get? How niche do you want me to get? I'm gonna look up the definition of niche, but the definition of niche is to be specific. Hello, it's to be specific, but I want to look it up on Google. Definition of niche is a comfortable or suitable position in life or employment. Hold on, this one. This is the definition. A specialized segment of a market for a particular kind of product or service. And that was so important because as I'm in these entrepreneurship classes, I'm in these courses and I'm learning more about entrepreneurship. I'm trying to learn more about entrepreneurship. But the thing was that I was speaking to everyone because I wasn't saying anything specific. I didn't have an ideal person that I was talking to because I was speaking to everyone. I'm thinking just because you have a business, you have to be on social media. If you're not on social media, how are you growing it? And so I was so stuck on the social media aspect, and I'm trying to narrow it down. I'm trying to gain a better understanding of how to speak to someone directly, but it was so hard for me. And so after this course, I had went to an additional. It was like my first pitch competition. No, it wasn't a competition. It wasn't a competition. It was a program where I can pitch my business for like 6 minutes, and then for 20 minutes I get asked Q&A or question and answers. There's a session where people can ask me questions and I can answer their question. And so when I went to go pitch at the competition, excuse me, I went to go pitch there. And as I'm pitching there, I'm talking about social media. I'm talking about I was talking about advertising, Facebook advertising. And so what I didn't fully understand was that when people or when you study something for a long amount of time, you start to pick up the language, you start to pick up the know-how, you start to really understand what you're doing when it comes to this particular thing. I've been studying social media for quite some time, so I'm able to speak the language of social media. Like I understand everything that goes with it. Or okay, I'm starting to understand everything that goes with it. And so, as I'm presenting my presentation, and as I'm talking about social media, I'm talking about Facebook advertising, and once I get done, I have people raising their hand and asking me questions. So as they're asking questions, the first question that I got, it was like, do you manage the post? Like, do you manage social media if we start to work with you? I was like, yes. They said, do you create the flyers? Do you create everything? I said yes. They said, do you post and take this away from me so I don't have to manage and post it? I said yes. They said, do you run the advertising as well? I said yes. So every time someone asked a question around Facebook advertising, I answered the question yes. This goes back to the first point of why you can't help everyone, because if you try to help everyone, you're helping no one. And so when once I got done, I was answering the question. I felt good about it. I went to my mentors or the people that I was in the course with. It's called Action Zone. Action Zone for veterans entrepreneurship. Veterans entrepreneurs, veteran transitional veterans looking to get into entrepreneurship. And so that was all right, Terrell, let's talk to you. So I go into this place. Oh, I'm sorry, not place. I go into this room and I'm speaking to one of the founders of Action Zone and one of the representatives that joined Action Zone a while back, but they were just helping. They said, Terrell, first off, good. Congratulations on your presentation. You did phenomenal. You did amazing. I said, I appreciate it. I said, I hope I did good. They said, Terrell, it was only one problem that you did. I said, what was it? They said, you didn't say no to nothing. I said, what you mean? She said, every time somebody asks you if you did something, you said yeah. I'm thinking, ain't this what you supposed to do? Like, I don't understand what you're saying. She said, no. If you only focus on Facebook advertising, why are you saying yes to social media management? If you only focus on Facebook advertising, why are you saying yes to creating the flyers? If you only do Facebook advertising, why are you saying yes to any other thing rather than Facebook advertising? She said you said yes to everything, but I want you to think about how many times you say no to something. And I thought about it, and I said I didn't. I didn't say it. I didn't say no. I didn't say no. She said the thing, where the problem comes from is that you're trying to help everyone. You can't help everyone because you don't know who you would like to help. And it was so confusing to me because I'm like, what is this? I thought I was doing something right. I thought I was doing it right. I thought I was doing entrepreneurship right. I thought I was finding out my audience that I wanted to serve. I thought I was doing it right. It wasn't the fact that I was doing it wrong. I just had to change how I did it. When I started to really pay attention to what they were saying, they say that I can't help everyone because I'm not speaking to no one. And what this means is that I'm not speaking to a particular person. At first, when I heard that, I'm like, isn't that limiting? Like, I'm only speaking to one person? And I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that I only need to talk to one person, understand one person problem, and know how to solve this one person problem. I didn't understand that. So I kept asking questions, trying to understand what they was talking about. Because I didn't understand it. They said if you find a person that you would like to help that person to the best of your ability. Because when the next person comes, you will be able to help that same person the exact way you help your first person. Because your first person is one person. I said, what does that even mean? What does that even mean? If I help one person, then the other person is going to come, then I'm able to help them too. What? They don't even make sense. And so as I'm in entrepreneurship and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do, who I want to help, and who I want to go, and how I want to go about serving them, it came down to helping one person. But the way I helped the one person was completely different than what the last presentation that I did on what they were asking me. I wasn't spreading myself too thin. I was finding out how to say no to things so I can focus on one customer. Here's the reason behind focusing on one customer. Because if you focus on one customer, you have similar traits, similar personalities, similar things that this person does, that this person is into, that this person like, that the next person would be able to relate to because they're doing the same exact thing. It was the relatability piece that I didn't understand. Even though my message can help everyone, do I want it to help everyone, and can I help everyone? Like, do I have a way to help everyone? Like, do I have a proven method to help everyone? Like, prime example, as I'm on the freeway, I remember this one time I was on the freeway, and as I was driving, I know how to change the tires. That's the only thing I know how to do when it comes to the cars. I know how to look at the oil, but I'm not changing the oil. But anything under the hood, I'm not your guy. And so one day I'm on the freeway and I saw this person changing their tires. I said, oh, I can help. And I can help. So I was in, and as I was on the freeway, I pulled over, I bagged my car up, and then I helped change the tire. It was cold outside, but I knew how to change the tire. So my hands are freezing. I'm helping change the tire, but it's cold. And I know how to change a tire. So the next following weeks, I get back on the freeway and I'm driving. And I see somebody, I look to my right and I see somebody got their hood got the hood open and they're looking in the engine. I kept driving because I didn't know how to help them. I kept driving because if I was to pull over and ask, hey, what do you think the problem is? What are you looking for? There's a high possibility the person that's looking underneath the engine, don't know anything about that engine. But the person who's looking at the engine is trying to figure it out. So what I look like, the person that don't know anything about engines, try to go help this person, and now we're both trying to figure it out. We're both trying to figure out, yes, it's the thought that matters, but if you can help someone a particular way, that's how you help them. If you don't know what you're doing, you can help everyone. It was so confusing to me when I start to really understand what that actually meant. People have different problems. People speak a different language. People come from different environments. And if you can be relatable to one thing, this one thing can grow because you, me, I will be a master of this one thing. There's a saying that say a master of traits. What did it say? It said master of, oh, I'm sorry, jack of all trades is better than not being, I forgot it. I think it said jack of all trades is like a master of none. No. When I was younger, people used to say like I'm a jack of all trades, like that means that they can do everything. And as I got older, I'm like, why do you want to be jack of all trades? That don't make sense. Like, why do you want to do everything? I don't know. I always questioned that. Then as I got older and got into entrepreneurship, if I try to help every customer that I come across, how do I really help them if it's something that I'm not familiar with? And so during that time, I'm like, what did I'm like, hold on, what they don't even make sense. They don't even make sense. But as I'm in as I'm exploring life, exploring entrepreneurship, I'm learning that you can't be a jack of all trades, because if you are trying to master everything, what are you even good at? What are you even good at? And so I start to really like learn and be aware of the lessons why you can't help everyone. It's not the fact that you are not a good person. No. I'm not saying that. You could be a good person, but you have to find the right person to help. Because if you find the right person to help, now you understand how to help them. And it was so confusing. It was like a light bulb went off and it blew out and then it came back on and it blew out and it came back on, because I kept having a what is it called? What is it called? I kept having dang, I forgot what it's called. A realization. I kept having a new. I don't like that word, but I'm gonna use it. It goes with it. I kept having a realization, because if you can help one person solve one problem, what about the next person that has the same problem that you can help? What about when the third person come and they have the same problem as the first two individuals? Won't you be able to help the next person because you helped the first person? And so it taught me that I can't help everyone because I'm not good at everything. But if I get good at one thing, I can help more people. It's like a multiplication. When I was in what is it called? When I was in elementary school, we was doing a multiplication table. Multiplication chart. And doing the multiplication, the table, I remember it was time, like you had 2 minutes to answer 50 questions. And so the first one could have been like 1 times 1 is 9. Okay, then you got 2 times 2 is 4. Then you got 5 times 5, 25. Then you have 6 times 6 is 12. and wait, no, 6 times 6 is 36. I said 12. Epiphany. That's yes, sir. I think is that I think that's my uncle. Epiphany. Yeah, with the light bulb. Yeah. That was the one. Jack of all trades, master of none. Hit that like and subscribe. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's my uncle. What's going on, Unc? And so as we're doing the multiplication table, I'm literally trying to rush through it because I'm trying to think of the numbers. I'm trying to think of the skills. I'm trying to think of the answers so quickly. Because if you don't finish, then you can fail the multiplication test. Well, when you start at 1, the multiplication of 1 is 1. When you go to 2, the multiplication times 2 is 2. So then when you increase the amount of people that you're helping, you're not just adding 1 plus 1 equals 2, 1 plus 2 equals 3. No. You're multiplying because when you get to one person, you're able to help the next person. When you get to the first person and get to the second person, you can get to the fourth person because people are going to say, he helped me with this problem. He helped me with this part. He or she helped me with this problem. And entrepreneurship is identifying a problem. I learned this a couple days ago. Not a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago. That entrepreneurship, that different businesses or people who have different businesses, they're solving one problem. And I'm like, how does one person have 5 businesses? Because this one person is solving 5 different problems. But what I didn't recognize, what was so confusing to me was that how can this person even have 5 businesses? How can this person be in different places? Like it wasn't making sense to me. And over time, I start to recognize that this one person who has 5 different businesses, he's not working in all the businesses. He's just working in one. I digress. That was a random thought. I digress. Back to the topic of why you can't help everyone. Business is identifying a problem. Like if I'm thirsty right now, I have something to drink and it's going to solve my problem. Problem solved. If I'm hungry, I go in the kitchen, I eat. Problem solved. Now, what I eat, what I drink, what I think about is completely different because I can be in the mood for different types of things, different type of water, different types of meals. It's recognizing that if you have one particular thing, and you get good at this one particular thing, it doesn't matter what the others are doing. Because the one thing that you are getting good at, the one problem that you are solving, the one way that you can help others, you're helping a lot of people. It doesn't matter the type of stuff that's out there, the different social media platforms that's out there. I had to learn that I had to not necessarily help everyone in the beginning phase. Because I'm still in the beginning phase. I'm still in the startup phase. But I had to learn how to help someone. And when I help this someone, I can talk their language. Because it was a language that I used. It was a language that I experienced. It was a language that I'm still using. And it wasn't until I start to really help people. I remember in, what was it, 2023. I think it was 2023. I remember when it was 2023 and I helped my first customer. At first, we was talking about a system or a software. And when we start having coaching calls and weekly calls, the first call, she was like, I need the system. I need to learn how to use this system. I need this. And then as we was talking, I said, I'm going to be honest with you. How we're meeting, it's not going to be about this system. Right now, it don't seem like the system, like the system is the top priority. One, because I didn't fully understand the system. So I couldn't teach the system if I didn't know the system. Two, what she was struggling with, I had just overcame. I had just I had just rediscovered myself. Because when I went through my divorce when I was 23, that phase when I was going through my divorce, I was going through my divorce, but I had to redefine myself. I had to find myself again. I had to learn more about myself. And I had to discover that even though you hit rock bottom, you can always get back up. And so when I was going through this phase, when I was going through this process, it was lonely. And so when she came to me, was like, yeah, Terrell, I need to learn this system. I need to learn how to use this software. I need to learn this. I said, I'm going to be honest with you. You don't need to learn that software. You don't need to learn that system. First, you need to learn yourself. First, you have to start doing things for yourself rather than for a system and a software. Because if you have the software and the system, where did you come into play? Like, where did you come into play? I heard the language. I recognized the language within one person. And over time, she starts to build her confidence up. She said, like, I've always wanted to start a business for the last 4 years, but I never started a business. For the last 4 years, I wanted to start a business, but I never started a business. And so as we was talking to her, as we was doing the coaching calls and we was talking to one another, I'm helping her find herself. Because I had to help myself find myself. Nah, I said that wrong. That was gonna be a powerful. Hold on. I had to I had to discover myself by. Nah, a different way. Hold on. I had to find myself in a new way so I could learn more about who I am. There we go. It was a process behind it. When you're going through the journey, when you're going through the process, when you're going through a new phase, you're going through a phase because it's something that you have to go through. If it was easy, you would have never went through it. But it's going through it that makes you better. Just like outside when it's raining, it's pouring. But when it's sunny, when it's God dog, when it's raining, it's pouring. And when it's sunny outside, it's a good day. Sometimes you have to go through the rain. You have to go through the doubt, the disbelief, the discouragement to find happiness, to discover yourself again and discover something that you're working towards. In order for you to find the sunny, in order for you to find the lights, in order for you to discover yourself, you have to lose yourself first. And I used to think that wasn't a true saying until I actually went through my divorce. I was like, yeah, nobody needs to really go through nothing to really to go through different experiences. They don't need to do that. They don't need to go through hard moments and tough situations. Then when I went through mine, I'm like, geez Louise. But I had to go through it. I had to go through it to know that I'm going to be okay. There's light in the tunnel. There's light in the tunnel. You just have to keep walking to discover yourself as you are going along your journey. The light is you. And when you start to see yourself different, you start to learn more about yourself. And so as we was coaching throughout our calls, she was like, Terrell, like I wanted to start a business, but I never started within the last 4 years because I had self-doubt. I didn't think I was good enough for it, so I never started. Then one day we was talking, and I remember so vaguely, like we was talking and we was having our conversation, and I asked her a question. I said, "Who are you?" And she started saying what she does, how long she's been doing it. I said, "No, no, 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 no. That's a description of you, but really, who are you?" And so she got to thinking. She got to thinking. And then she say, Terrell, help me. I'm like, no. Because in order for you to discover yourself, you don't need validation from others. You see, the only reason why I know how to help her is because that's how I help myself. I help myself trying to define myself, learning myself, and identifying who I am. That's the most toughest question to ask someone. Who are you? Because they start to describe what they've done. No, 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 no. Who are you makes a difference because it's your story. It's your experiences. It's everything that you have been through. When I get asked the question, who am I? First I lead off with the accomplishment to build credibility. And I say my name is Terryl Humphrey. I produce. No, I ain't gonna say first. I think no, I ain't gonna say first. I don't introduce myself with my accomplishments first. No, no, no. I say my name is Terryl Humphrey, and as the world was coming down, my world started to open up because of my phone. When I picked up my phone, I never put it down because I start to learn more about myself. I start to look at myself. I start to hear myself. I start to see myself. Because one, the camera was on me, so I had no choice but to look at me. Two, I had to really look at myself. Because now I understood that there was a process that I had to go through to discover who I am. So in business and entrepreneurship, discovering who you are first is the most important thing, because when you discover yourself, you can discover someone who had similar traits as you. I didn't know that. I didn't recognize. I didn't fully understand that, because it's something that you can relate to. It's something that you've been through. It's something that you have grown from. When I got into entrepreneurship, I didn't even know it was called entrepreneurship. When I got into social media, I didn't even know it was called social media. When I got into creating videos, or when I got into creating podcasts, I didn't even know it was called podcasting. I just started. And here's the thing about starting is that when you start along your journey, you start to figure out everything about yourself. Because eventually everything about you will start to come to the light. I'm on the 3 lights right now. And if I wanted to help everyone, that will be impossible, because there's certain things that I just haven't done. There's certain things that I just haven't experienced. So it would be difficult for me to even try to relate to it. But I can only say no to some things based off the first presentation that I gave when I was getting into business, and they allowed me to pitch what I did. At the time, it was helping. It was turning views into sales. And I'm like, how you even do that? How you even do that? Because I didn't do it for myself. It sound good, turning views into sales. What I also recognize is that if I haven't done it, I shouldn't really be talking about it. I should not be talking about it. Because it matters based off the results that you have. And the type of results I had, I didn't even know how to do that. And so I had to really just sit with myself, just understand, like, what am I doing? Who do I want to help? Why am I helping them? And then over the course of a year, because November is about to be December, over a course of a year, I was trying to help everyone. I was trying to help everyone across the social media platforms, or in person. Like, I'm trying to help everyone. Not knowing the way you can help somebody is the same way you helped yourself. And when you recognize the same way you help yourself, this is where business can come from. But understanding that everything can be a business was so confusing to me. I just didn't understand how everything can be a business. You got a landscaping company, you got a trucking company, you got a social media company, you got a content creation company, you got a roofing company, you got a real estate company, you got what is it called? Art museum. Museum is a company or is a business. Like you literally have museums. You have a building with pictures there. What? You can literally have a business about everything. And ironically enough, I went to this. I don't think it was called a museum. It was a place with some historical pictures in there, and I've never seen any pictures priced that high. One picture was like $27,000. Another was like $76,000. Another was like $200. I'm like, what kind of pictures are these? I said, who are these people? Who are these people? Why they charging so much? Because it's a business. It's a business. And what I didn't recognize that everything can be a business. It's a struggle trying to find that one thing that you can make a business from. When I start to really go to different courses, different places, different events to learn more about, because I didn't know what's called entrepreneurship during the time. To just learn. To just learn. As I'm going to different places and going to different events and just traveling, I'm going to learn something. I don't know what I'm going to learn, but I'm going to learn something. I remember this one time I went to this conference, it was a real estate conference. And first off, he said I can get in there for free. He said, yeah, man, I'm hosting this conference. It's actually next month. He said you can come and you get VIP for free. I said, what? The reason why I got it for free because we met at a previous event where in the room, like I've never been in this room before, but in this room, it had the person that was the person that was hosting the event. He said, in this room alone, there is $1.7 billion with the B in this room. And I'm looking around. I say, maybe he ain't count my pockets because my pockets ain't nowhere near that. It ain't no $1.7 billion. What? And as I'm in this room, and as I'm in this space, and I'm just learning information that I didn't expect to learn. I'm here in this room, and everyone who was in this room had a lot of money, minus me. Don't count me in. Everybody minus me. Don't count me in. Don't count me in. Everybody in this room had money. And everybody in this room did something differently. And everyone in this room did something different. Everyone in this room had a different business. But the room had $1.7 billion in it. And that was minus the host, because the host is a billionaire as well. Is a billionaire as well, but he was like excluding my income. This room alone has $1.7 billion. I said, minus your income? Minus your income? I just saw Elijah come in. I met Elijah at the event that I'm talking about. And it was mind blowing. And at that time, I'm just learning new information. And as I'm learning new information, I'm just going to hold on to it. I actually got the notebook somewhere. Yeah, it's right here. I got the notebook of all the notes that I took. Just because you can't help everyone doesn't mean you can't help the same person a lot of times. And it took me a while to learn that because I didn't know it was called entrepreneurship. I didn't know it was called owning your own business. I didn't know it was called making the difference. I didn't know it was called making the impact. I didn't know it was called that you can make money from what you have been through when you understand what you are going through. Excuse me. And it taught me that you don't have to know everything. Because I'm a living proof. I didn't even know where I was. I didn't even know I didn't even know what I got myself into, to be honest. But all these people had different businesses, and they were serving different audiences because they wasn't serving everyone, they were serving someone. And so over time, you start to really understand, like, yes, helping is not bad. Like, please understand where I'm coming from. Helping is not bad. It's helping the right person that makes a difference. Because if I try to help somebody with a car, yeah, that probably ain't gonna work. Because I don't know what I'm doing. When I was in the service, everybody, I won't say everybody, but majority of the people that I was in the what is called the platoon with, what a platoon is called is the group of people that you have to where your station is at. And so when the group of people that I was around, they all liked cars. My dog, he had a 2016 V8 Camaro. And before I left my hometown, I didn't even know what a V8 even was. I didn't even know what it even was. And everyone that was around me, that was cars. Like, they really liked cars. I didn't like cars like that. So, like, they slept. Like, every time they talked about the cars. A car drive by, they can say, oh, it's a Camaro, and it got whatever the case is. They know the cars. When you narrow down who you would like to help, you start to know the person that you're helping because they speak the same language. They speak the same language, and it's difficult to understand the language that someone is speaking if you haven't learned it, if you haven't experienced it, if you don't even enjoy it. So whenever they got to talking about cars, I'm like, yep. I don't know what y'all talking about because I don't have interest in it. You can't help everyone, but you can help someone when you learn how to help yourself first. Entrepreneurship, what I've learned over the last 11 months is that entrepreneurship is something that has to be studied every single day. Because something can be different, something can be off, something can be improved. But if you're not paying attention to being an entrepreneur, becoming an entrepreneur will be so challenging because you're not focusing on it. And so over the last couple of years, I've been learning different things, learning different information. And as I'm learning it, I didn't fully understand that it would be something that I'll be using in the future. Like, if you would have told me, like, to where when 2020 comes and the world shut down, bruh, a half a decade after you keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna be a lot better, and you'll be a becoming entrepreneur, or I wouldn't say established because I'm still becoming a learning, what is it called, a developing entrepreneur. If you would have said that, I would have looked at you confused, like crazy, because I want to know what that meant. The good thing that you can do is start today and learn on your journey, and learn as you go. Because when you start to help everyone, you have to feel that you're stretching yourself too thin. And when you're stretched too thin, not only are you stretched too thin, you're not necessarily bringing that much value to the person that you want to help. Because you don't know everything. You're not a jack of all trades. You just know something about something. You just know something about a different thing, or something about a particular skill, but you don't fully understand it. You don't sleep, eat, and breathe what you're doing. I sleep, eat, and breathe entrepreneurship. As I'm working out, I'm listening to books. As I'm asleep, I'm listening to books, and I'm just playing. When I'm not sleeping, when I'm not up, I'm listening to books. But I'm really studying. I'm really learning from people who already has the success. who already has the businesses and the entrepreneurship perspective and the different ways to make things happen. Like I'm learning from people where I want to be, where I would like to go. Excuse me, I have a goal to help 1 billion people launch their podcast and become the best version of themselves. Excuse me. And I only say with the B, I'm sorry, 1 billion people with a B is because there's 8 billion people on this world. If I can help a small portion become the best version of themselves while launching a podcast, oh my goodness. I'm helping the same person the same way I'm helping myself over time, over their lifetime, lifetime. That one person that I've helped from podcasts and launch their podcast and launch what they want to do and become the best version of themselves. I'm helping this person, and this person starts to see results over time. I can't help all 8 billion, but I can help a few. You know what I mean? When I was watching this video, was it a video or I think it was either an interview, a video, or or someone just talking to the camera. That was like when Jesus traveled the world, everybody didn't like him. Everybody didn't like Jesus, but Jesus went around the world. And for the ones who believed, for the ones that was inspired by him, from the ones that saw him and wanted to be influenced by him, grew and became the best version of himself. Unfortunately, Jesus had to die on the cross. But when he died on the cross, it wasn't the people that liked him. It was the people that didn't like him. And if you try to please everybody, you're going to be hurting yourself because you can't please everybody. On the contrary, you can please the right people. You can please the right person. You can please to the people who's willing to learn from you. From the people that you've helped because you helped yourself. In order to help yourself, you have to go through life and heal and grow and develop and become something different. Because if you remain the same, how can you help the next person get to where you are staying the same at? I didn't fully understand that I had to change so I can start helping others. And when I help others, they can start to see themselves differently. You see, we went to church one day, and as soon I'm gonna look for it. We went to church one day, and as soon as we sat down in the sermon. Oh, I'm sorry, not in the sermon. As soon as we sat down in the church before the sermon began, I had got a piece of paper and I wrote down 3 different questions. I said, how many languages does the Bible have? Okay, I said, how many places has Jesus traveled or has he went? How many people didn't really like him? And so when I hold on, not the last question was how many people didn't like him. The last question was how many languages does the Bible have? And so I wrote 3 questions down, and I put it down and I waited for the sermon to start. As the sermon was starting, the preacher literally covered one of the questions. He said in order for Jesus to have 12 disciples, he had to start with a few. And when he started building the people that he wanted to be around, I'm still studying the Bible, so I don't necessarily know all the names, but I'm still studying the Bible. He said when he started to build the 12 disciples, this is where his impact came, because the 12 disciples that he helped, that he built, that he nurtured, start to help other people. And so The 12 disciples start building disciples, and then their disciples start building disciples, and then Jesus made the impact with 12 of them first. When I saw that, I said, ooh, Jesus was a cold marketer. Like he knew how to put himself out there. If you're gonna have a business, you have to be willing to put yourself out there. Because if you don't put yourself out there, nobody's gonna know what you're doing. Nobody's gonna understand what you're doing. And when you start to help yourself first, now you can understand who you are looking for and how you can go by helping them. You can't help everybody because everyone don't want to be helped. But you can help the ones that has raised their hand and said, I want your help. I want your help. Versus going to someone that didn't even raise their hand and say, why are you here? Many times in life, it's identifying the people that we would like to help so we can help more of the people that want the help versus the people that don't even want to be around us. Just like Jesus put himself out there, you have to put yourself out there to make a difference for the right people, because the right people will start to hear your message. They will start to hear your story. They will start to hear the experiences that you have been through. And when you start to share it even more people will start to come. You can't help everyone. And the reason why this is so incredible is because, first off, this is my first time teaching the lesson like this. And the reason why I wanted to teach it like this is because I have more understanding of what I'm doing. I typically would say after producing 893 podcast episodes, but if you really look at my channel, I have over 1,000 different videos. So I have to practice because I only practice on one thing. And this is my first time teaching it as a format. Because now I'm understanding where I've been and who I would like to help to get to the next step. You just got to get to the next step to know that you can get to the next step. But if I don't put myself out there, how can you get to the next step? Because I'm taking the responsibility for myself to put myself out there. You see, when I mentioned that I've been studying learning more about social media and like the importance behind it, there's a lot of people across these different platforms. There's a lot of people. I'll give you a prime example. There's a new app called the Blue Sky. I think it's called the Blue Sky. And this app is another social media app. It's kind of like X. It's kind of like Threads. But they just hit another milestone. 22 million people has joined this platform. 22 million. And the platform just came about, I don't know when it got established, but I just recently heard about it a couple days ago. So I created my account, you know what I mean? I caught up with the trend. Here's the thing. It's 22 million on this platform, on Blue Sky. It's 22 million. I don't need to speak to all 22. What about 10% of that? 10% of 22 million is what? 2 million, if I'm not mistaken? If I'm not mistaken, I think it's 2 million. 22 million times 10%. I'm sorry, 2.2 million. 2,200,000. So if I put myself out there, here's another thing that Jesus did, and I don't know if Jesus did it, but that his disciples did. If you look at the Bible, because we was reading the Bible, but we read it on our app. And they have different what is it called? Different versions of the Bible. And I'm like, this is crazy. How? Because it started with one. When you start with one and you speak to this person and you speak and understand the problem that they're going through, look at what it can become to. Look what it can grow to. You don't need to help everybody. In fact, everybody can't be helped because you can't help everybody. What you can do is that you can find a particular person that you want to help and understand how you can help them based off what you've been in your experiences, not an awful book. Yes, book and education is very important, but you have to apply what you're learning to know that it actually works. Then when you start to help others, you start to see the difference that you can make. So hopefully you stay towards the end. Now you understand the importance behind why you can't help everyone. But if you really focus on helping someone, you can help a lot of people. And once you help a lot of people, now you're able to grow so much. You're able to multiply so much based off the amount of people that you can help when it comes to the person that you started with. If y'all got value from this, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments your biggest takeaway on why helping everyone is a bad idea. Let me know in the comments. I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to comment behind it because your words have meaning behind it. And when you understand the right people that you're speaking to, for instance, I want to help entrepreneurs launch their podcast so they can get confident on camera and share their story. I have clarity now. I know who I want to talk to. And when you have clarity and identify who you like to speak to, this is the difference that you can make. So I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all watch additional videos. It's to additional podcasts. And I can't wait to read what you say about the topic of today.